Hi, friends. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Katie, and welcome to Okay, But Did You Know? A podcast where we talk about the TV and media that we love with a friend who's never seen it before.
Today, we're recapping and chatting about Once Upon a Time, episode 312, New York City Serenade. This episode aired on March 9th, 2014. It was written by our showrunners, Eddie Kitsis and Adam Horowitz, and was directed by Billy Gerhardt. And before we get into our recapping and chatting, let's go over a synopsis for New York City Serenade. In the Enchanted Forest 1 year ago. After the destruction of the curse, our heroes land back in the Enchanted Forest, left to figure out how to put their lives back together. Killian sets off to find his ship, while Regina and the Charmings take the rest of the group back to Regina's castle. Along the way, Regina tries to bury her own heart to cope with the pain until Snow convinces her that she can be happy. The two get attacked by a flying monkey in the process, and are saved by Robin Hood, a man to whom the Queen takes an immediate dislike. Once they arrive at the palace, they see the protection spell has been hijacked, and now they'll need to find another way in. But the person who's taken up residence is one they won't see coming. And in New York City today, Killian continues his pursuit to get Emma to remember. After her boyfriend of 8 months, Walsh, proposes, Emma begins to rethink her whole life. She has a job she likes, her and her son are safe and happy. What more could she want? But Killian gives her an address to convince her that he's telling the truth. And after Emma develops the photos from Henry's camera that she finds in Neil's old apartment, she begins to believe him. She takes the memory potion. When she goes to tell Walsh she can't marry him, he reveals he's been a flying monkey in disguise, proving Emma was never safe. She takes Henry with her to Storybrooke, seeing that it has returned, and her parents still remember her, although they don't remember the last year of their lives. Their only clue that time has passed is that now, Snow is pregnant.
And speaking of pregnancy, so is Aurora.
Yes, Aurora is also pregnant. We knew that from the beginning of from 303.
I know, but I forgot.
Yeah, no, it's a small detail. It's easy to forget.
Well, I was so focused on Mulan.
No, that's fair.
Like that broke my heart, and then also, through this for like the first half of season 3 is a little hard to get through.
Yeah, it all blurs together.
It
I
really
would
does.
say that because it's just I was listening to some of the episodes that haven't aired yet because I was in the car a lot this weekend, so I had time and I listened to a podcast. I listened to our podcast.
You listen to us?
I listened to us because it's something to listen to, but also like requires no mental energy. But it is like it doesn't distract me when I don't know where I'm driving, kind of thing.
And we're also hilarious.
I think we're hilarious. So it really works out very nicely. And also, I could test how the new microphone sounds because, I mean, by the time you guys get this one, you'll have had like 3 episodes of this, but I still haven't really heard it as much outside of editing. So I get to listen to that. But like, we're by the end of it, we're both very excited to be done with 3A.
So much.
For 2 very different reasons.
I really don't like Walsh from the beginning. So like, I started off with like, I don't like Emma's date. Like,
yeah, don't worry.
Right off the bat.
Yeah, you're right to feel that way.
I found that out later on. I just have it in all caps. I knew I didn't trust him. And also wrote like, creepy. Well, Emma dated a flying monkey, then that will always be funny.
Oh, it's always funny.
It's always funny.
I'm pretty sure it comes up at some point in the show again. Like someone will just like bring it up just like to mess with her.
Like she dated a flying fucking monkey. My life is complete.
As opposed to me, who has a good reason for having bad taste in men, Emma has no excuse.
None whatsoever. I mean, she had Neil, and then Neil's still a step up from the flying monkey, I will say.
That he is.
Although him in fantasy clothes doesn't work with my brain.
I know it does. It does seem weird, because we've never seen Neil, with Enchanted Foresty clothing. It's all been Balefire, and it's. I don't know. The outfit they gave him does suit him. I'll give it that.
It does, even though the subtitles still called him Balefire.
Yeah, I don't know who proofread those subtitles.
I loved the line, "You're a crazy person, or a liar, or both. I prefer dashing rapscallion."
Yeah.
Scoundrel? Like, God, I love him.
He's always good for a sarcastic one-liner, because it's good, healthy body image. He recognizes his own beauty, and I think that's very important. A lot of men don't do that.
It's the guy liner.
I
love Snow right off the bat, just be like, no, it's our castle, we're gonna work together. And Regina actually doing it instead of be like, no, it's mine, go away. Like, I'm really proud of Regina This episode really, really shows her growth more than anything. Definitely. And her and Snow's relationship doing so much better, which is really enjoyable to watch because I was like, please don't make us go back to this again.
No, at this point, their relationship is pretty much on the forward trajectory of like I said, the beginning of season 3 is you see kind of like the sibling like rivalry kind of fighting. Like they get out, like they gotta get out their Zoomies is the best way I can describe it. And now they can kind of move forward and be closer. At least they start to be the family they kind of, I guess, that Snow wanted them to be when she was younger.
Mm-hmm.
But I always say this, and I say this constantly: Snow mothers Regina a hell of a lot more than Regina ever mothered Snow.
That's very true. I had that moment of like, oh wait, who is her? When like Aurora and that idiot are like speaking to each other, and then I remembered you've already told me who's coming, and I was like, wait a minute, flying monkey, what's wrong with me?
Yeah, the fact that Aurora and Philip are working with Zelena, it doesn't really get explained.
Just she's the scary green witch lady. Like
she's kind of there. I mean, she's kind of there, at least for this episode. She has more to do, obviously, after this episode. But yeah, she's the looming threat for a while, and that's kind of it.
Oh, fun. I mean,
at least I'm saying for this episode. Like after this, she's there, but
still better than Peter Pan, because you think Peter Pan, you think young boy who just never wants to grow up. You think the Wicked Witch, and you're like, oh no, she's evil.
Yeah, well,
like, she's already evil.
That's something we said in I think it was in Think Lovely. It had to have been from the Think Lovely Thoughts episode, because Zelena, and with most of the other villains going forward, they don't do a whole lot of the switching, making your hero the villain, like as a twist thing going forward. So it's easier to set your expectations of this character is normally villainous, so I'm going to see what they're going to give me, kind of thing. Peter Pan is the only character that they really switched, a character that's usually a hero, turn him into a villain, but they didn't give us any justification for him being a villain other than he was a shitty dad. That's all it was.
I did yell, say no, Emma, please say no. Like, Killian's waiting. I mean, I guess I should say Neil's waiting for. Killian's waiting for you. Don't do that. I got really excited that they were playing Diablo.
Yeah, they were playing a real video game.
They were playing a real video game. They were playing Diablo, and I'm like, oh my god, fuck yeah! Because I am a child. I realized it was Neil's apartment later than I should have, but
yeah, that's fine.
My brain is braining today.
It's okay.
And then ripped back to Storybrooke, like that, because that was that first inkling they just said it, and so I was kind of sitting here like, what the fuck's going on? Obviously, I don't really get answers.
No, not in this episode.
Then Regina burying her own heart.
There was a lot more foreshadowing in this episode than I realized, which is fun. We were talking before, this is months apart because we're recording our Agatha All Along special tonight, but you'll have already heard that because this is coming out in January. Rewatching
this will be around my birthday.
I think this comes out on January 20th, I think. Rewatching things, you see things new, and it's funny with how many times I've rewatched Once Upon a Time that like I'm just now catching, because I'm watching it very, very closely, looking for things to talk about, how much foreshadowing they, at least in the individual arcs that they put into these things.
Yeah. Sorry, I literally uploaded today and I was like, 20th's not right, it's the 13th. Because I actually did my job today and actually got my stuff done.
Nicely done.
And the last date was just January 8th, so I win this time. Unless we have something else planned for that week.
Yeah, that's the 13th we have. That's going to be our first movie. So last week will have been. Last week. So
damn, again, I thought I was right for like 2 seconds, and now I'm really embarrassed.
What do you think it was?
I thought it was like that you had the wrong date. No, but I had the wrong date. I don't know what our schedule is. I do what I'm told.
Exactly, and I keep our schedule to make sure that it makes sense.
See, Lauren is the brain behind all of this. I am the, what are we doing?
But like only in data. If you could see beyond my space, it is a series of doom piles everywhere. I mean, but to be fair, series of doom piles is very good for sound treatment.
That is fair. I still need to get a rug.
Yes, you do.
Oh God, Killian coming out of jail. I've been in my fair share of brigs, but none as barbaric as that. They force-fed me something called bologna.
Our burger of the week is the New York City Serenade burger. Comes with something called bologna.
I love it so much.
It's such a good line. It's so perfect.
Oh, and I of course I already know that Regina gets the love interest, like, and it's going to be Robin and all that, which I guess I'll be told what happened to his baby mama? I don't know.
Yes.
Okay. But I really did love he's kind of cute, huh? He smells like
forest.
It honestly makes me think about when I was introduced to my husband, because just someone I knew, we were good friends at the time, was just like, so who do you think of such and such? And like, it was another friend. I was like, no, not really. Not good. And then she goes, well, what do you think of Steven? And I was just like, he's really tall. That's all I could say about Steven after I met him. He's really tall. And now we are married with 2 children.
Yeah.
5.5 years later.
Yeah. The smells like forest line is funny because at a convention, I was either very late of the show or after it was over. Lana and Rebecca Mader, who plays Lena, they were doing a panel together, and someone asked them like what qualities they would pick for a new partner for both, like for each other, but they kind of answered for themselves. But like Lana she started saying like someone who kind of smells like musky or outdoorsy. She starts describing things, and someone yelled, "It smells like forest." She went, "Yeah, like that."
I love it so much. I did like that they used pregnancy to show passage of time, because we already knew that, they were talking about having a baby. So that was all fun and games. And that'll be interesting, because I can't wait to see how Emma feels about that. Because it feels like a replacement child.
She's going to have thoughts.
And I want my last note to be, please don't leave eggs and juice out. Clean up before you leave.
Yeah, also like she did not give that child enough time to eat. Like he ate one bite and was like, "We're going on a road trip."
Right? I'm like, finish eating, clean up your mess.
Clean your kitchen at all.
Something, please, before you leave for Maine forever, because you're not coming back.
No, she's not.
Just because she just drops everything and leaves.
I did find it funny though. She had like the thing she was mixing the eggs in, like the giant like glass bowl pitcher.
It was so big.
But does everyone have that? Because I have one of those also.
I do not have one of those.
I was like, I feel like a lot of people I know have that. I'm like, is this a common thing that's in households?
Not mine. We use just big glass bowls.
It's a nice,
a few metal ones too.
It's a nice pitcher, and like we use it for things. I can't say any of us have ever made. I don't think we've ever actually made pancake batter in it. I don't know why we haven't. That does make sense.
The pancake batter would make sense, but she's making eggs in it, and it's like the tiniest amount of eggs in this huge bowl. And I'm like, just get a normal bowl if you're just mixing up eggs.
Yeah, but why?
The things how are we back to fucking eggs?
Why are there eggs when you can be flashy with a giant glass pitcher?
Look how much money I make.
As a bail bonds person.
To
be fair though, like that apartment is very nice, and there's no way
it's in New York.
It's a very that apartment would have to be very expensive.
You can't find a 2-bedroom apartment that's affordable in New York.
Not on one salary, no.
Especially not a bail bond salary.
No, it's especially not, because that's usually like an on commission kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
so I want to know.
Very pretty,
so I would like to know how they afford their apartment. Did Regina just like stack their bank account?
Maybe. It's like, we would like the real world logistics, please, of how a bail bonds person affords a 2-bedroom apartment. It's the Friends effect. No one would be able to afford that apartment ever.
No.
So it's television. We let it slide, unfortunately. No matter how much our current housing market makes me sad.
Yeah, we got lucky with our house, and I'm doing everything I can possibly to hold on to it.
Yeah.
Even though it has some holes in it right now.
It's fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Why is my voice so high?
I don't know. All right, so some fun facts
for us
today.
That was a reference. That was a Friends reference.
Oh, it was? Oh.
Yes.
I have not watched enough Friends to get to get a lot of references.
I feel like it would just anger you watching more Friends, because they're supposed to be in New York, and I could just see you now and be like, that's not how that works in New York.
Sitcoms, it doesn't bother me as much.
Okay.
Like, it's more like shows that are, it's like dramas that like that use New York City as a set piece. That's when it bothers me. Like New York City
life is so different when you live in a city like that.
Yeah, like sitcoms, it not that it's not a set piece, it's the setting, but like it's like the fact that it's in New York City isn't usually like a factor. It is kind of just like generic city, but also because kind of like How I Met Your Mother, like that being in New York City, that really could be any large city. It just is New York City.
I think my favorite episode, one of my favorite moments in Friends, though, is near the end of the show. They bring the girl that's having their baby into New York to stay with them, and Chandler goes to all the tourist places for the first time after living in New York forever, and he comes back and goes, I love this city, because he's got like all the touristy shit all over him for the first time ever, and it's like season 10.
Well, that's because New Yorkers don't go to the touristy shit.
And he's like, this shit's actually really cool.
I'm going to the Radio City Christmas Spectacular for the first time ever.
How's that work?
That I've never been?
No, well, yeah, but I don't understand the logistics of doing anything that's like big in New York. When I see people like at the New Year, the drop, and I find out just the things people go through to be out there, I'm like, why?
That to me makes no sense. I don't know why you'd put yourself through that. Similarly, I went to go see the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade once. Never again. Not worth it. But
you just watch that on the TV.
Yeah, the Radio City music show, that the Radio City Christmas show, that one's a case of my mom got an email. They were like doing like early sale tickets, so she bought them.
That's
she bought them back in July. Like that one is on the same. That one's on the same level of like when we go to see Broadway shows, we kind of like try and like wait to find when they're going to be cheap. And since usually my dad is willing to drive us into the city, it makes life so much easier. Like, be by myself, I do prefer to take public transit. I don't like driving in Manhattan. But
I would say I understand, but I don't.
It's not. I don't recommend it. It's not fun.
One last funny note before we move on is when I was growing up, all I ever wanted to be was a rockette until I found out there was an actual like height requirement.
There is. You are definitely not tall enough.
I used to dance. I danced for like 6 years when I was young, and when I found out there was a height requirement, I cried. I like legitimately cried because it was my dream to be a rockette, and then. I only grew to 5 feet.
Yeah, you when they're like in their heels, you'd come up to like their waist.
I know. It's so bad. I'm glad I was able to give you that though. All for you. There you go. Yeah. Now, whenever you see any of their performances, you just get to imagine a Katie like somewhere in the middle.
Well, it's funny. So actually, I have a friend who he's a French horn player, and he's currently in the pit orchestra for Sunset Boulevard on Broadway. But he was I don't know if he was a recurring fill-in or if he was a actual person. I don't know. But he used to be the French horn for the pit orchestra for the Christmas Spectacular.
Oh, fun.
So we never went when he was in it.
But well, send me something fun that's Rockettes.
I shall. I'll send you some pictures.
Thank you.
So some fun facts for you for this episode. The title, New York City Serenade, is another one of our titles that's named after a song. It's named after the Bruce Springsteen song of the same name. Some continuity. I don't know if we want to consider continuity, or I don't know what we want to consider this. When the residents of Storybrooke reappear in the Enchanted Forest, there are some notable changes to the groups. Because when they disappeared, we had the Blue Fairy and Tink. They do not show up in that initial grouping. Maybe they were in that second group that Jiminy said is like, is 2 miles away or so. We don't know, but they're not even in this episode at all. So it
doesn't matter.
But Red is in the group when they reappear. She was not in the group when they left.
That's so interesting though, because like I saw Belle next to Granny and I was like, wait, I wonder if I could see Red, but I didn't see her. So I must have just missed her.
Red was basically where Blue and Tink were. She was like in the front off to the right.
I'm so annoyed that I like missed that.
She will be in the next episode. So like this isn't like your last chance to see her.
She's back.
She's back for these 2 episodes, and then I think we don't see her again until season 5.
That's depressing.
She wasn't being given enough work, so she found another job.
I can understand that. You only need to use a wolf smelling stuff so much, I guess.
Exactly. And like for honestly, for her elf, when they were using her wolf powers, you can use Granny.
They did.
And they did. Well, because the thing is, because Megan Ori, she was main cast in season 2, which meant she was guaranteed a certain number of episodes. But I think at one point I did the math. Despite the fact that she's guaranteed a certain number of episodes, I think she was actually featured in less episodes as a main cast member than she was in season 1.
Which is crazy.
Exactly. It's nuts. Okay. Like, but they pay her more because she's main cast, but she's featured probably like the minimum amount she's required to. But she's actually, I think, not credit only in less episodes than she was actually in season 1. So I don't.
How much can you use Red?
I don't blame her for getting another job, quite frankly. So at this point, I think at this point she had moved on to a show on CBS, I think. Gotcha. And then after that, she's in a Hallmark TV show that I don't know much about, but I do know at one point she's like doing some kind of fundraiser with puppies. I remember a lot of pictures of her with puppies.
I'm okay with this.
That's all I got. So Walsh, for being creepy, in New York City, he has a scar on his neck that when we see a flashback of him being turned into the flying monkey, he does not have. The monkey that attacks Regina and Snow gets hit in the neck by an arrow, implying that that flying monkey is Walsh.
Okay, interesting.
Because they met 8 months prior to those events happening. So that means he's still in the Enchanted Forest for a little while before Zelena sends him off to do whatever it is that she needs.
Kind of creepy, but okay.
I liked that. When I saw it, I was like, I hadn't realized that before.
Oh, yeah. I just think I find him very creepy.
Mm-hmm. Originally, Regina and the others were going to be attacked by gargoyles, but according to the concept artist John Gallagher, they went with flying monkeys instead. I think that makes more sense.
It does make more sense. It sticks to the original.
Exactly. If you're going to be hinting the entire episode about the Wicked Witch of the West, I think if you can, as long as the rights are there, use the flying monkeys.
Look, you're just going to confuse people that it's actually like Notre Dame or something like that.
Right. Oh, no, it's actually like, Frollo.
Right? So, like, it's. I feel like it's a good idea to use. Can you imagine?
I'm so glad they didn't include that because that's one of the things.
Oh, no, I know.
I don't trust them to do that, to handle that with care.
I don't trust anyone to handle that with care.
No. There was apparently an unscripted hug between Emma and Hook after she bails him out of jail that was cut out of the scene, which makes sense, especially because if it's before Emma gets her memories back, it wouldn't make sense.
No, the hug has to be after.
Mm-hmm. So it was never actually explained on the show why Zelena stole some of Regina's blood at the end of the episode, the very last thing that she does with like, the monkey with the blood and everything. In an interview with TV Guide in May of 2014, Eddie Kitsis stated that he believed it was to deal with the bloodlock on Regina's palace and to prove that Regina is her sister, while Adam added, that may be a case of something that we answered, but we didn't answer it clearly enough for people to get.
Wait, some sister?
Oh, shit. Oh,
did fuck, you just spoil something?
I was going to wait until next week. Fuck. Okay. Well, we're doing that.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. Shit. I meant to cut that out.
You've never done that.
I meant to cut that out.
That is a first.
Fuck. Okay. Well, you don't know how that's going to happen yet, but
no, but it just adds to the wreath.
It does add to the wreath, but okay. So this means that I can make my jokes now instead of next week. Okay. So, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. So just sit with that for a while. But here's the jokes. I was gonna make these. Damn it!
How did you do that?
Here's the thing: is I'm usually a lot better at editing my notes beforehand, and it's just been such a weird weekend.
It's election day.
Yeah, we're recording this on election day. Our brains are elsewhere. Damn, I really meant to cut that out. Okay, but I'm gonna make my jokes now. Then, so you'll see the reveal is next week. I'm not spoiling anything like that you're not hearing until the end of the season.
It's not like it's the first episode of Once Upon a Time and you're like,
by the way, everything's real.
Rumple is Henry's grandfather. Like, okay. I'm not getting that first episode.
So when we did our episode, I think we did our special about real person fiction. And I said the thing about Bex and Lana, their relationship being a little too overly familiar. And I believe something you said to me was, why don't people ship their characters? Now you know why. But here's something else I don't remember exactly when you said this, but at one point you literally said, is it incest if they weren't raised together?
Oh, God.
So, here are your reasons. But this is the thing is, just because you probably shouldn't ship Wicked Queen doesn't mean I haven't written that in the past. But that mostly has to do with Lana and Bex, if anything. That's mostly what that is.
My brain is taking in so much information right now.
But yes, this is in fact why people don't ship Regina and Zelena just because of the actors. It is because they are in fact sisters. I am so mad at myself that I didn't edit my notes.
Oh my. I'll find out, parents. So yeah, I'm sure.
You'll figure out more or less how that works next week. But
I'm just like, what did Henry do? Senior. I'm like, Henry, what are you doing? But that could also be, Cora.
We'll talk about it next week. We'll talk about that more next week. But yeah, now that I've
my brain's imploding right now.
My apologies. I really meant to wait until next week. Oh well.
Hey, there's a first time for everything.
Honestly, okay. So next week you're gonna see it. the buildup of like the reveal of I'm your sister, that seems to be the only place that they're going with that. Like,
okay,
the whole spiel. Like once it's because I remember when I watched it, I jokingly because this was the inception of my being able to kind of spot less than original writing. Because as she was talking about these things, I just jokingly said to my friend, "I'm your sister." About a second before she said, "I'm your sister." Actually, a half sister, but details. So we'll see that
all
next
right
week.
then.
That's a next week thing. Wow, Lauren spoiled that for I can't. I've never done that before.
Never.
I'm mad at myself, but it's fine.
This is episode 107.
I know.
Wow.
But again, at least it's just something that you're only gonna.
It's literally the next episode. It's not
It's
that
literally
big
the
of a
next
deal.
episode, and like I haven't revealed anything about her motives. I've just revealed her identity.
I mean, she's the Wicked Witch. I can't wait to see what the motive is, honestly.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
I mean, is it just two siblings fighting over whose castle it is?
You have a castle and I want it.
It's mine now. You left. You stopped sitting in it. It's mine now. You got up.
You can have your castle back if you want it that badly. Enjoy this. I mean, you're gonna have this voice for a lot of next week, so there's that.
I am.
It's gonna be fun. I still have more fun. I had a lot of fun facts for this one. The wiki was actually very helpful.
Just pay close attention to what you're reading.
Everything else is fine. Nothing else is spoiled. The one thing I should have paid attention to, I just kept reading. But to be fair, okay, but again, their justification of she needed the blood for the bloodlock. The point of the bloodlock is they're related. You don't need blood for that. If she's related, it would work.
Oh goodness.
Like the blood might be like a red herring, but then why? It really is never explained. That was the point of that note. It was never really explained by them or in the show very well. It's just that was how they got Zelena into the end of the episode.
Which is still a good way to do it.
Yeah. But this is the second episode of the entire series to end on a flashback, because technically speaking, everything in Enchanted Forest is flashback.
Mm-hmm.
The first one being 205 the Doctor, because it ends on Victor Frankenstein with his thinking that he's revived his brother and saying it's not magic, it's science.
Oh, Frankenstein.
He's a person that exists.
Yes, he is. Oh God, is he back in Storybrooke?
You'll see.
Because you said that they're gonna make a joke eventually about his hair, and I can't wait for that because I love iZombie.
Yeah, so you're gonna see him again at the end of this season, and the iZombie joke is in season 5.
God, what happens in season 4? Everything seems to happen in season 5.
A lot of stuff happens in season 5. Season 5 is season 4. Season 4, a lot of stuff happens as well. Season 4, I personally love. Season 4, I have a lot of like behind the scenes and like stuff because that's the Queens of Darkness, and I've listened to a lot of their interviews, so I have a lot of stuff for there.
I've had this moment like being on Threads a lot lately and seeing a lot of people posting about behind the scenes stuff, but they using like in caps the BTS, and my brain at first had not picked up what that meant. So I really was like confused reading some of these threads because I'm just like, are we talking about another like K-pop group or something? What are we talking about? Until I finally figured it the fuck out on one of your posts, and I went, "Oh, I'm dumb."
Just behind the scenes.
Just behind the scenes.
That's all it means.
I'm so smart. It's just why all caps? You're like killing me. It makes me think it's a proper noun.
I know, right? So there was a hidden Mickey on Aurora's tray in the very beginning. The way like a few of the plates were arranged, it was a Mickey.
Oh goodness,
it's cute. When Emma walks Henry home right before she sees the photos, they walk past a newspaper vending machine that says New York Bugle, which is a reference to the Daily Bugle, a fictional New York City tabloid newspaper from the Marvel universe, predominantly Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
The restaurant menu that Emma opens in the very beginning is adapted from an older version of the menu from an actual restaurant, Bricks and Mortar, which is actually where they filmed the scenes.
Oh, cool.
Most of the menu was pretty much the same, with the exception of their beef tenderloin. The fake one was $5 more than the original. I don't know why. They decided to upcharge on it, I guess.
Because people, I mean, all I'm going to think about is Granny's menu right now.
I know.
That's all I'm going to say. God, give me those prices.
I know. And lastly, the international titles, they were all different, weirdly enough.
Oh my God.
I didn't write down all of them. I mostly just wrote down the one that I found the most interesting, which was German, which translated to "green is the new black."
I like that. Man, Germans always say cool shit.
Yeah, it's a cool title, and it alludes to a line that Regina will say to Zelena in episode 316 of, "Didn't anyone tell you? Black is my color."
I love her.
They have a good time. Well, we have a good time watching them. The two of them having a good time, maybe.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see how it happens. And now that you know they're siblings, I can at least just lean into the sibling
rivalry.
Because I mean, to be fair, that's a good chunk of the drama. Is like, you know,
is every storyline in the show going to be we're related?
Not season 4. No one's blood related.
God damn it! Because like we just got off Peter Pan, and immediately their next storyline is all right. Who from the family tree are we choosing next?
Well, this is what I think I said this in some episode in 3A, is that these two arcs are a little repetitive. Like, because they are both at their core about adding on a new branch of the family wreath, but it's about a family relationship, and there's saving people. Stuff is going to get, like, someone is going to be after something that's going to try and kill somebody else. It is very similar drama, very similar story structure, with the same element of an estranged family relationship. So like, this is why I say that I think if you expanded on 3B, we could have just made that the entire arc and foregone Pan all entirely, but I don't write the show, so
it'd be kind of cool if you did.
It would be nice if I did, honestly. But I mean, we say that, but honestly, when it comes to like fandom stuff and everything, like, fans don't know what they want until they have it in front of them. So we don't know we want something else until they give us something we don't like, kind of thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So Emma finally has a smartphone now that she's back on like a regular timeline.
She does.
She's got her first smartphone.
Took a little while.
It took her some time because figure, so this is a year after. So I mean, to be fair, she's still a year behind, I would say. Because figure, if we're like maybe like, I would say we're probably in late 2012. Trying to think of timing wise. Yeah, I would say we're probably like late 2012, early 2013.
Those are some early iPhones.
Yeah, so like we're early on in there, but like timing wise, this was airing in early 2014, so we're still like a year behind in schedules and stuff. Because like with the technology in Storybrooke, I would say it's outdated. It does update, but it's always outdated, and we'll see how outdated those computers are next season, which was very funny. But she has her first smartphone, which works nicely since she has her own business and everything.
But you kind of need that.
You do kind of need that. Why is she pregnant and I'm the one who's sick just always makes me laugh.
I love it so much.
It's so
good. I just
good.
love Regina. Like, she gets better and better every episode.
No, she does. Well, like, because I feel like they ramp up the sass, especially when she doesn't have her heart in her body, which how feeling without your heart in your body works. They will explain, like, as like later on in the season, they'll touch on it briefly, because it really is up to the person. Because like, that's the thing with like Cora, she didn't have her heart in her body. And like, I think she did love Regina to an extent, but like to an extent.
Yeah. And everyone loves differently.
Yeah, everyone loves differently. Everyone receives love differently. And Cora, I think she did love her, but Regina and how I think she said, it doesn't hurt as much as when that was still in my chest, kind of thing. And you can see the shift as soon as the heart is reintroduced to how much it hurts. And it's a case of she feels so deeply that even without her heart in her body, she still feels just not as much. Whereas Cora, I think, was probably still a little more unfeeling.
She went without her heart for longer.
It's true. She also had her heart without her for a very, very long time. This is very true, because she took it out well before she had Regina. So
it's like, that's Queen of Hearts had no heart.
Which makes sense.
It does.
She's the Queen of Hearts. Do you really think she'd be so careless as to keep her heart where everyone else does? I don't think so.
Oh man.
So when it comes to New York City stuff, we were saying that before about like my thing with like when if it's a set piece, I'm gonna be annoyed by it. I will admit, I don't remember where I heard this. I was apparently wrong. They did not film any of this episode in New York City. I thought they had. I don't know where I got. It was all filmed in Vancouver.
Okay.
But they got areas that looked closer to what they were like trying to emulate than like they did with the stuff outside of Neil's apartment. The street that they have him on, though, Worcester Street, does run through Soho. So if that's the neighborhood they intend to have him in, that is an address that does work.
Okay.
So I'll give them credit for that one. But like that's a case of like, the fact that it's New York City, it's a specific neighborhood, like that the set dressing kind of needs to look something like it should in real life, in my opinion. But also, most people don't care.
I mean, that makes sense, but you're not going to put someone, like, let's say Queens, but it actually looks like Upper West Side. Like,
yeah, because those are two very different places.
Two very different places. See, I know that much.
You do know that much.
I know enough.
Queens
and Staten Island. Those are two different boroughs.
Queens and Staten Island are basically the suburbs of New York City.
Pretty much. See, I know something when it comes to that. Not much, but something.
Mm-hmm. So, remember what I said about Belle? She shouldn't recognize Robin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they'd kept that part out,
it would have been just fine.
The thing that works in season 4 would be just fine. Or if they had literally like left out the thing in season 4 altogether, it's just like every time I see it, I'm just like, it makes no sense. Because I know
you can recast and not make it obvious.
Exactly, you can recast and like not acknowledge it if you don't have to acknowledge it. Like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Sorry.
It was like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend was very good. If they felt the need to acknowledge it, and I recognize that, and I think they did it well because it was a commentary on how like we view people as like our mental health changes.
I can see that, yeah.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
I don't think I've watched that. I don't remember. That's how my brain works.
We've established we've had a very long day.
I have not stopped watching TV almost the entire day.
That's fair.
And taking notes. Like, it hasn't been like I've got TV on in the background. This has been, I've been watching TV and like diligently taking notes the whole time. It's not like a situation of like, oh, I'm scrolling on my doom scrolling and watching TV. It's very much, oh, nope, here's a thought. Let me write that down. Just work.
It is work. It requires a lot of mental energy. But yeah, the Smells Like Forest scene is just
amazing.
It's a great line. He's kind of cute, huh? He smells like forest. It's a good line. First of all, it's snarky. It's Regina, but it's also a good marker, like you keep saying, of Regina and Snow's relationship and how it's changing. Because now Snow's going to get a chance to be like matchmaking. Like she's not like trying to. I mean, she is trying to set them up, but like she's pushing Regina towards something she thinks is good for her. And she is correct. It
almost like appeases what happened too a little bit.
Yeah, maybe she feels like because she cost Regina her first true love, maybe she can help her find it again. So, but one line of Killian's that I'm surprised you didn't bring up was towards the very end when they're about to leave the apartment, and Henry says to him, "Why are you dressed like that? Why are you dressed like that? Like, sir, you are fighting with a 12-year-old."
I love it so much.
It's so good. Like I said, he's very easily offended by Henry, which I just find really funny. And like, so I noticed this time. I don't know where it started. I don't know if we could see it earlier in the episode or not. But in that last scene, Emma's wearing the shoelace bracelet again, which shouldn't exist because that was of Storybrooke. That was the shoelace that was Graham's shoelace.
Yeah.
So she shouldn't have that. Just saying.
But she does.
So we'll add. There is no justification for that whatsoever. But this is my last little thing, and I have something for after stats. But Emma's bug still has Massachusetts plates on it. If she's been living in New York City for a year, she should have gotten it re-registered in New York.
Like immediately.
Yeah, but like she's been there. It doesn't matter. Like if
because I know y'all's laws are a little bit different up there too.
Yeah, New York. I don't know how long after you move there, like you claim residency, you need to register your car by, but at least by the time your car's registration expires.
Yeah.
You need to re-register it, and I'm pretty sure her registration was set to expire when she moved to Storybrooke.
And I know we talked before too about, you said you had to go and get your car inspected, and I'm like, y'all do that up there?
Once a year.
Not down here.
At the end of the day, I don't really know what it checks for. Like, I've gotten the reports and everything, but like, unless there's something egregiously wrong with my car, they send me an email with a report that I don't read.
Yeah, I've always been curious, what's the point of having it inspected? Like, are you not allowed to drive it if something's wrong with it?
Basically, yeah, there are certain criteria that if the car doesn't pass, you can't you need to fix it in order to get the inspection sticker, so that like you don't get pulled over and don't get ticketed for like
we literally see inspection. People like with missing car parts. I'm talking like entire bumpers front ends, back ends of cars driving down the street down here.
Yeah. Well, in my case, like for the most part, my inspection's mostly clear because my car is only 6 years old. But my tires were an issue a year ago. Because I'll admit, I didn't put my regular tires back on. After I drove around on snow tires for way longer than I should have. So when I went to get the inspection, then I was like, oh, hey, can you put my other tires back on since I'm here? And they said, sure. And then the guy came out and he's like, okay, your old tires your car will not pass inspection if I put these on. I'll leave your snow tires on because it will pass inspection with that. Let's get you some new tires so you can actually drive your car the way it's supposed to.
They're like treaded differently, right?
Yeah, snow tire. Yeah, there's something with the tread, but like, and honestly, with how our snow has been knocking on all of the things, I didn't change my tires last year. I probably will change them this year unless it looks like we're going to get a lot of snow. But I also don't commute anymore, and that was mostly why I had them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I work from home. If it snows, I just don't leave the house.
Yeah, we don't do anything with snow. No snow.
I don't recommend it if you don't have to. But yes, that's how car inspections work.
Yeah, we don't have that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Is actually, if she was going to get it inspected, she definitely needed it registered.
Yeah, that's where my brain went. Like, if you have to do that every year in New York, she should have had it inspected at least.
Yeah,
not just re-registered, but also inspected, because not like she's down here where no one cares. The shit I've seen people use bungee cords to keep their trunk attached.
Yeah, sounds about right. And I can't even say. Like, well, because it's a stolen car kind of thing, but he got it a cleared VIN, so it's fine to get re-registered wherever. And to be fair, she got it re-registered in Massachusetts because it no longer has Oregon plates on it.
Yeah.
Because it did have Oregon plates the first time we saw it. So this is the real world logic of Emma Swan, get your car inspected, please. Like, like the fandom, like we always, a lot of times we always had Regina kind of call it the yellow metal death trap. And to be fair, she will have something to say about the car in middle of season 4. But like, yeah, get it inspected so you don't die. So Katie, what did you rate this episode?
So I gave plot 9. I thought I actually really enjoyed the plot here. It was great because it was kind of mysterious, but at the same time, pretty obvious. Character 8. Okay. Walsh is fucking creepy.
Yeah, like you don't see him. You see him once, and that's it.
He creeped me out. And personal 10. I actually gave this like a 27. I really enjoyed this one. I was excited. I was excited to start it regardless of like what was going to be in this episode, just because I survived Peter Pan 2024. Yeah. I need that t-shirt. I survived Peter Pan. Oh, that sounds like a dark joke.
Yes, it
does. But so I was already excited anyways. And this feels like it's coming at like the perfect time because ironically, yes, this comes out in January. But we are watching this now starting in November, and Wicked comes out soon at the same time too.
Yeah.
So we're just really spoiled with this arc.
It's a good time for it.
It's a great time for it. Which is so funny because that means like all of our like Christmassy type stuff people are going to hear in like February. Which will be funny.
Yeah. I mean, that happened last time.
It did.
So I gave this 10s for plot and character and a 9 for personal because it's like I really enjoy this episode, especially coming off of last arc. It's refreshing. It feels a little bit like a return to form. I mean, it's not quite yet because we haven't had like a flashback, and we'll have like a flat. We won't have like a flashback that's like backstory and not missing year. I want to say until 316. That's the first like pre-missing year flashback we get.
Okay.
So we're focusing on these 2 timelines so far is like what's happening in Storybrooke and what happened in the last year to get them back to Storybrooke kind of thing and how that happened and who got them there. So it's a lot of fun, but it's not a 30. Like it's just missing like a few key things.
Slightly.
Just slightly.
Gosh, I'm telling you.
So it's a good time, but it's I still greatly enjoy this, especially after what we've had for the last 11 weeks. But yeah, so as I've already spoiled, Regina's sister, the Wicked Witch of the West, which is a fun sentence to say. She is revealed to be our big baddie, who has taken over the castle with Regina's Goldilocks reference, which was weird.
Very.
Nobody sits in my chair. Nobody takes our castle. I'm like, okay. But I love that, like, because next, I've been saying for a while the episode where we see Zelina, I'll talk in the British accent, and I said in the next episode because this one she's in just the one scene. And like she really is in this episode to have. I wrote them down like to have like 4 lines of like, no, did you get what I need? Show me. That's her blood. Lovely. Now I shall get my revenge. Of course I will. The queen may be evil, but I'm wicked, and wicked always wins.
Like the amount of times I've heard you say that last little bit.
Well, because that's the easiest. Well, because you always ask me like to like tease things, and so I would either do the queen may be evil, but I'm wicked, and wicked always wins, or I would do. Wait, what's the line I would always do? Because you really don't know who I am, do you? It tells you nothing.
Absolutely not. Well, I know a lot now.
Now you know that. Yeah,
I love that I got teased for so long and just out of nowhere.
And then I just
what did you just say?
Oops.
Oops.
What's even better is me going, oops. That is a reference to Zelina.
Oh my god.
She literally at one point in, I think it's 3:15, someone says she did something, she just goes, oops. Like she doesn't care.
I'm excited for a villain that's just a villain.
She is a villain. She's the type of villain. She thinks she's delightful. She's like, why wouldn't anyone want to side with me? I'm amazing. Like, and all these things. Like, why don't you want me to have my happiness? That's how she feels. And she's not trying to redeem herself, at least not at the beginning, at least. She's just trying to be a villain. She's very honest about her intentions of what she wants and what she's going after. And she's going after what she feels she deserves. And she does it in a very, very entertaining way.
I'm very excited to see what she does.
It'll be a good time.
Thank you all for listening. Join us next time when we discuss Bob's Burgers Season 6, Episode 15, Pro Tiki Con Tiki, and Episode 16, Bye Bye Boo Boo. Don't forget to like, rate, and follow the podcast wherever you listen so you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. Follow us at OBDYK_pod on Instagram and TikTok. And if you'd like to join our Patreon, you can find the link with more details in our show notes.
This has been an episode of Okay, But Did You Know? A TV and media podcast. It was hosted by Lauren and Katie and edited by Lauren.